married to my father and I have 3 children with him. Welcome back to my channel, guys. If this is the first time of watching my video, I'd like to say a very big thank you to you. Please do not forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications so that when I upload new videos, you can easily have access to them. Thank you very much for joining us. And to today's story, we are going to call this lady Amma. So Amma wrote to us and I needed some advice from all of us. So let's go straight to the story. She says, I'm married to my father and I have 3 children with him. I was raised by my grandmother who was so caring and so sweet. When I turned 6 years old, my grandmother told me that my mother died a few days after I was born. Now, when I turned 8 years, I started asking grandmother who my dad was. But each time I asked grandma this question, she would either ignore the question or tell me that the time was not right. At the right time, she was going to tell me who my father was. So because grandma was not giving me answers to my questions, I went to ask my uncles and aunties who my dad was. But none of them knew who my dad was. So I was really surprised and disappointed at the same time because I thought I could get some answers from my uncles and my aunties. Fortunately, when I got to high school, grandma called me one evening and told me that the time was right for her to tell me who my dad was. In fact, I was very happy at the news. But she told me later on that my dad died when I turned 1 year. And the reason for which she didn't want to tell me earlier was because she didn't want me to be sad. And that's why she concealed the news for me. Well, that evening I cried and she cried with me. After that, I promised myself that I wasn't going to ask grandma about my mom and my dad or anything concerning them because I didn't want her to be sad. Now, the reason for which I never ever wanted to talk about them was because grandma provided for me. She gave me virtually everything that I wanted. Even things that I never requested for, grandma gave them to. After secondary school, however, I got a scholarship to study in the United States of America. In fact, I was very happy, but grandma wouldn't want me to go. I had to explain to her that I needed to explore and then change my environment. So she eventually allowed me to go. Now, when I got to the university, I made friends from all over the place. But then at the end of the day, I made friends, or very good friends, with 3 other girls from 3 different countries. Now, while we're in the university, we occasionally travel to other states just to have fun. Unfortunately, when I got to my last year at the university, I got a very bad news from home that grandma had died. In fact, I was broken because she was my rock and she was my world. I had to travel back to Ghana or Africa in order to have her buried and perform other funeral rites. In fact, when I got home, one of my uncles told me that grandma had left me a property. This uncle told me that I have to take my time and go through all the documentation and any other thing that grandmother left for me. I was really not interested in any property because I was too sad. Right after the funeral rites, I went back to the United States. I completed my course and I got a very good job. So my friends and I traveled all over the world. We traveled to Kenya, South Africa, and other African countries, as well as other parts of Europe. The friends and I decided to visit Dubai, and that is where my entire life changed. When we got to Dubai, I met this fine gentleman who was in his mid-40s. And what made our connection so strong was that this man was from Ghana and I was also from Ghana. And then we were both living in the United States, which means that when our vacation was over, we could still get in touch if our distance wasn't going to be an issue for us. And the moment I saw this gentleman, it felt like I have known him for years. We exchanged contact and we started talking. In fact, we talked every single day. And like they say, one thing led to the other. The long story short, we got married and I now have 3 beautiful, amazing children with this man. So this year, I decided to come home with three of my beautiful children, because since I've had them, none of my aunties and uncles have had the opportunity to meet them physically. And then I also decided to come home this year because my uncle kept calling and calling and calling, and had asked me several times to come home so that he could hand over the property that grandma left for me. And that is where the entire story changed. When I got home, my uncle handed over to me a very big box. I didn't know what it contained, and when I opened the box, I had the shock of my life. In that box, I saw pictures of my mom when she was in school, when she was a child. I saw so many letters. I saw documentation to land and houses. I saw so many things. I didn't know what it was, so I was still curious. Then I opened one other box and I saw something that made my heart beat really fast. I saw a picture of the man I called my husband. In fact, when I saw him, even though in the picture he was relatively young, but I could immediately recognize him. I didn't know what was happening. So then in that same box, I saw a letter that was addressed to me. So I immediately opened it. And that letter was written by Grandma. According to this letter, my mom and dad were an item, or they were in a relationship when they were in the university. My mom became pregnant with me, and so she had to stop school in order to have me. Unfortunately, she passed on. So after her death, Grandma was so angry that she never wanted my dad to get close to me. So Grandma did everything to make sure that my dad never got to meet me. Now, I am so perplexed. I am so sad. I am broken. I am terribly sad, and I don't know what to do. Here I am in Ghana with my children, who happen to be my siblings as well. What do I do, guys? Since nobody knows that my husband is also my father, should I just keep quiet, go back to the United States and pretend nothing had happened in order to continue my marriage? Or should I tell this man what I have discovered, divorce him, and then continue with my life? What do I do? I am really worried. Wow. So guys, this is the letter that we have received from a lady that we have decided to call Amma. What would you advise that this lady should do? Do you think that she should come clean with the man or the husband and father at the same time? Or do you think that she should go back to the United States, continue with the marriage, and then life goes on? What would you advise this lady to do? Thank you so much for watching this video, and please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet, and do well to turn on the notification. Until I see you in the next video, it's bye for now.